Good evening and welcome to the July 10th, 2023 meeting of the Frankfort Village Board. Call this meeting to order, and we ask our village administrator, Rob Pisha, to take the roll, please.
Mayor Ogle.
Here.
Trustee Borelli.
Here.
Trustee Ledden.
Here.
Trustee Petro.
Here.
Trustee Rigoni.
Here.
Trustee Savaria.
Here.
Attorney Lamore.
Present.
Chief Chalepis.
Here.
Assistant Administrator Barica. And the village administrator is here.
Thank you.
You have a quorum.
I'll ask everyone to please stand while we say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on here is what's called the unanimous consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted in one motion. There is no separate discussion of these items unless a board member so requests, in which event that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. At this time, I ask if any of the board members would like to remove any of the items from the consent agenda.
Mayor, I'd like to remove item D2.
Okay. We will remove item D2. Are there any other items? Okay. So we will be discussing item D2 separately after the consent agenda. Can I now get a motion to accept the consent agenda? In a second. A motion by Trustee Borelli, second by Trustee Savaria. We're going to go through each of these items. Trustees will be reading the reports, the staff reports, and that way those who are in the audience, those who will be watching at home or later, understand exactly what we're voting on. And the packets with complete agendas and the information are available on our village website at frankfortil.org under the government tab. So the first item on here would have been the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting on June 20th of 2023. And then the next item is the approval of the bills, and we will go to Trustee Rigoni.
Thank you, Mayor. The disbursements this month for July 10th, 2023 is outlined. The general corporate funds was $355,569.85. The capital development fund, $59,262.90. The sewer and water operation maintenance fund, $127,007.20, and the sewer and water extension fund of $52,518.75 for a total funds of $5,942,358.70 for those funds totaled out of the bills being paid this month. A notable is that for the BS&A software, it was a $90,000 line item. That is the third and last installment for the new system that was implemented in February. It is a new system that automates finances, payrolls, and as well as permitting. My understanding that is the last installation, but there was maintenance at that. So I'd like to just note, as I know that has been quite an improvement here at the village of having that. So that concludes the discussion on the bills.
Thank you, Trustee Rigoni. Now we'll go to Trustee Savaria for Committee of the Whole report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First item for the Committee of the Whole report is the annual appropriation ordinance fiscal year 2023-2024 adoption. At the June 14th Committee of the Whole meeting, Finance Director Jenny Booth presented the annual appropriation ordinance for fiscal year 2024. As required by state statute, the Village Board is required to pass an annual appropriation ordinance specifying the village's legal maximum spending limit before the end of the first quarter of each fiscal year. In this ordinance, the corporate authorities may appropriate such sums of money as are deemed necessary to defray all necessary expenses and liabilities of the village to be paid or incurred during the next fiscal year. The corporate authorities have determined that the total of $62,132,900 is necessary to defray all expenses and liabilities for fiscal year 2024. The annual appropriation ordinance is based upon the village's fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. Generally, the appropriation authority requested represents the budgeted amount plus 10%, which accounts for possible changes to planned expenditures that may take place during the course of the fiscal year. The notice of the public hearing concerning the annual appropriation ordinance was published in the Daily Southtown on June 27, 2023, and pursuant to that notice, a hearing was held immediately prior to this meeting. A copy of the proposed appropriation ordinance was made available for public inspection at the Village Hall and Frankfort Public Library. It was the consensus of the committee to forward a recommendation to the Village Board to adopt the fiscal year 2024 appropriation ordinance as presented. The motion before us is to accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole, waive the first and second reading, and pass the annual appropriation ordinance providing an appropriation for corporate purpose in the amount of $62,132,900 for the fiscal year beginning May 1st, 2023 and ending April 30th, 2024 in the Village of Frankfort, Will and Cook Counties, Illinois.
Thank you, Trustee Savaria. Next item on here is the staff report from the Plan Commission, and Trustee Petro will be reading those.
Thank you, Mayor. First item is the Misty Creek Townhome Development, the northwest corner of Lairway Road and 116th Avenue. We have 3 variances: A, special use permit for planned unit development; B, final development plan approval; and C, preliminary final plat of subdivision of Misty Creek approval. Flaherty Builders proposes to construct a 32-unit townhome development on the vacant 9.7-acre property located at the northwest corner of Lairway Road and 116th Avenue. The site is adjacent to the Hickory Creek Middle School at a signalized intersection along Lairway Road. The proposed development includes 4 triplexes and 10 duplexes. A new public road, Misty Creek Lane, is proposed through the center of the development, connecting to both Lairway Road and 116th Avenue. To accommodate construction of the proposed townhome development, the applicant requests approval of a special use permit for a planned U development, final development plan approval, and preliminary final plat of subdivision approval. At its February 6, 2023 meeting, the Village Board passed an ordinance rezoning the subject property to R4 attached single-family residential. This project was reviewed several times by the Plan Commission, including 2 workshops and 2 public hearings. At its October 27, 2022 public hearing on the project, the Plan Commission reviewed the proposed townhome development and forwarded a unanimous 4-0 recommendation to the Village Board to approve the PUD request. Since the Plan Commission meeting on October 27th, the pet park was replaced with a Serenity Garden. The former pet park contained a fenced area with play equipment for dogs. The new Serenity Garden includes a bench, wooden swing arbor, and a butterfly house. Also, an additional tree and several arborvitae, shrubs, and decorative grasses were added. At its June 22, 2023 public hearing on the project, the Plan Commission forwarded 2 unanimous 7-0 recommendations to the Village Board to approve the final development plan and preliminary final plat of subdivision. The 3 motions before us are to accept the Plan Commission recommendation, waive the first and second readings, and pass an ordinance approving a special use permit for a planned unit development for Misty Creek, a 32-unit townhome development located at the northwest corner of Lairway Road and 116th Avenue in accordance with the reviewed plans, public testimony, and conditioned upon final engineering approval and the replacement of any sections of sidewalk damaged during construction. The second is to accept the Plan Commission recommendation and approve the final development plan of Misty Creek prepared by Linden Group dated 5/30/23 for a 32-unit townhome development in accordance with the reviewed plans, conditioned upon final engineering approval and village staff approval and the CC&Rs and HOA bylaws. And the third and final is to accept the Plan Commission recommendation and approve the preliminary final plat of subdivision of Misty Creek prepared by Linden Group, latest revision dated 6/27/23, in accordance with the reviewed plans, subject to any technical revisions prior to recording and conditioned upon final engineering approval, village staff approval of CC&Rs and HOA bylaws, and a 25-foot wide, no fence, no access easement to be placed on private property adjacent to the right-of-way of both Lairway Road and 116th Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. Those are all the items that are on the consent agenda tonight. We will be discussing the item D2 separately. And we have a motion and a second, so I ask our village administrator, Rob Pisha, to take the roll. Vote.
On the consent agenda?
There was to be no separate discussion on it,
Okay.
but,
Oh, I'll
'Cause it's
just
on the
use it during my
consent
trustee
agenda.
comments. Okay, sounds good.
because it's
Thanks.
on the consent agenda. The vote, please.
Trustee Sabari? Trustee Rigoni?
Yes.
Trustee Petro?
Yes.
Trustee Ledden?
Yes.
Trustee Borelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Borelli had requested that we remove item D2 from the consent agenda, and it is now going to be discussed separately. Before we discuss that, we'd like to have a motion and a second in order to move to discussion.
Okay, I will move to accept the Plan Commission recommendation, waive the first and second readings, and pass an ordinance granting an accessory structure area variance from 250 square feet to 288 square feet to permit construction of a 16 by 18 foot covered open-sided pool pergola in the rear yard of the property located at 10677 Yankee Ridge Drive in accordance with reviewed plans, public testimony, and findings of fact.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All right. You don't have to vote in favor of that, but we needed to get that
Yep.
on there in order to discuss it. Which of the trustees would like to start? Would you like to
Did
start?
you want to present on, there was a
Oh,
little
yes,
blurb on
I'm
it?
sorry, that's, and trustee Ledden, I believe you have the presentation for that report.
I did. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this item is the Morgan Residence Accessory Structure Area Variance. Homeowner Todd Morgan proposes to construct a new 16-foot by 18-foot covered open-sided pool pergola in the rear yard of his residence property located at 10677 Yankee Ridge Drive. The dimensions of the accessory structure exceed the maximum area of 250 square feet for accessory structures within the R2 single-family residential district. To accommodate the proposed pergola, the applicant requests the granting of an accessory structure area variance from 250 square feet to 288 square feet. At the June 22nd, 2023 public hearing on the project, the Plan Commission forwarded a unanimous 7-0 recommendation to the village board approving the variance request. And I'll just reread what Trustee Borelli just read. So the motion before us this evening is to accept the Plan Commission recommendation, waive the first and second readings, and pass an ordinance granting an accessory structure area variance from 250 square feet to 288 square feet to permit construction of a 16-foot by 18-foot covered open-sided pool pergola in the rear yard of the property located at 10677 Yankee Ridge Drive in accordance with the reviewed plans, public testimony, and findings of fact. Thank you.
So we do have a motion and a second on this. Who would like to begin the discussion on this from the board?
I will, Mayor. As I reviewed the packet, the materials, I'm looking at looking for that hardship, and we just spent a lot of time rewriting that text amendment to change the limit for accessory structures from 144 square feet to 250 square feet. That was discussed ad nauseum, as we all know, and we finally landed on that 250 square feet. And I just, as I look through here, I don't see the hardship, and I feel like this is a bad precedent to set, to go ahead and approve this, because then what stops anybody from passing or coming before us? Because I can't come up with a good reason. I'm not seeing the hardship. It hasn't been sold to me in the packet. And for those reasons, I'm not going to vote for it. I feel like it's very close. I think if you reduce, Mr. Morgan reduces it by like 2¼ feet, you're under the 250 and you get what you need. And you don't need it'll pass. So that's just where I'm at with it. Thanks,
Okay.
Mayor.
Thank you, trustee Borelli. Trustee Savaria? Or
So, sitting on the Plan Commission, I tend to agree with trustee Borelli. I see Mr. Morgan's in the audience tonight. What I didn't see in here was, as trustee Borelli said, is what the hardship was. I think the one thing it listed, which I don't really get, is that the subject property cannot yield a reasonable return if permitted to be used only under the conditions allowed by regulations an R2 zoning district. I don't see that that's the case. If you brought it in a foot on either side, I think it's just a base. Your slats could go over, right? So, again, I'm not arguing whether or not it should be more. I think it should be a sliding scale based off of your property, but currently, as it reads, is the ordinance should be 250 unless you have a land hardship. And I don't see a land hardship at this point, so.
Any other trustees like to comment?
No, I would just say, I'll repeat what trustee Borelli said. There was a lot of time that was spent on it. And sure, the number is somewhat arbitrary when it's determined from 144 to 250. And then you have your first test case out of the gate and it's over that amount. So I would agree with what trustee Savaria said. To me, in hindsight, it would have been worthwhile to examine the size of the lot and the size of the structure to make sure that, whatever number is chosen, it's a percentage of whatever that isn't greater than. But we have to live with what was determined last year.
Trustee Petro or Ragoni?
No further comments.
I think that as we move forward, having been on the Plan Commission, when we talked about it, I know that there was lots of discussion, and I know that trustee Savaria had brought up a sliding scale as well. I think that's something that definitely should be, because when variances are very hard, the hardships, they're very hard in terms of determining them. But when we look at something like this, that it has its unique, it backs up to the trail and so forth. It is a it's not the typical 15,000 square foot lot and so forth. So maybe it is, worth looking or further discussion about that. Where the 144 was arbitrary, we know that. Where the 250 is, I know that there was lots of discussion on that. But there's every property is unique. Every property is. We did talk ad nauseum about the 250 and how we landed there as it relates to. It's just not pergolas; it's others as well.
And I'm open to the sliding scale discussion. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, is that something we can bring back, Mayor?
I mean,
Discuss in the committee of the whole?
We could certainly discuss that, like trustee Burley said, we had discussed this ad nauseum.
Yep.
I'd like to talk to it, if I'm ready, if you're ready.
Not yet, Mr. Morgan, but we'll give you a moment to speak once the trustees have. Is this something that, for this particular vote, that you are looking to send back for consideration, or we have a motion and a second on at this
No.
point?
it's a long discussion. I think it would take several months to figure that out and reopen that. I'm ready to vote.
Okay. All right, Mr. Morgan, if you can make your comments brief, this is.
So,
Yes.
obviously, trustee for 16 years here in the village of Frankfort on the board, I invoked the original 144 rule in order to protect the village against sheds being built and so forth. Obviously, if you look through the community, it's been variances allowed ultimately for many of these structures outside. I can find many that are 300, way bigger than what I have, and many are scale kind of, commensurate. And I think that, and I got in front of the planning commission, and I exposed all the details as to what we were trying to do, the size of my lot, all the details, and we had a unanimous vote at the planning commission level, unanimous. And they agreed. And I, in my discussion about the 144 being inappropriate at the time, invoked the original change to the rule to get to 250. I didn't participate in the meetings for 250. I thought that this number was, again, arbitrary. I thought it was flawless, or flawed. I talked to trustee Savaria today about it. He agreed that that measurement is flawed. It doesn't take into consideration scale. It doesn't take into consideration if you don't back up to anybody, if you have a bigger home, if you live in Old Stone Village, or if you have a mansion over here, or whatever you have. And so it doesn't apply to the need of the homeowner, and it doesn't apply to the product they're trying to build in their community commensurate to their home. That's what we're doing here. If you drive by my home, I win the beautification award every year because I fight for what it is. I've fought for that all in this entire community, everywhere you look. And I think this rule's wrong. And yeah, you're gonna force me to build 250? I'll build 250. What does it matter to me? Nothing. But 288 is appropriate for my property and for what I'm trying to do and try to add to the value of my community, of my neighborhood and my community. So I'm at your beck and call here. Obviously you've already decided and Gene's decided and maybe Leiden's decided, but I think that you're gonna revisit this thing, you're gonna amend it again. I waited 2 years for this project. I proposed it actually in 2019 I proposed it. And so I have been going through this process patiently trying to get, it centralized and, so I'm up to you. You wanna vote against it? Vote against it. But I have no control here, so.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Morgan. I believe our discussions on the board level was in the last 2 years that we brought this forward for discussion to bring it to the 250 number. We have a motion and a second. We'll go to our village administrator for the vote, please.
Trustee Borelli.
No.
Trustee Ledden.
No.
Trustee Petro.
Yes.
Trustee Rigoni.
Yes.
Trustee Savaria.
No.
Motion fails.
Okay. And I am going to abstain from voting on this one.
I didn't hear your vote, Mayor.
I'm abstaining from voting on this, Mr. Morgan.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next item on here is the mayor's report. And we just wrapped up an amazing weekend here with the Bluegrass Festival. This was the 11th year for the Bluegrass Festival. I think this was a record number. And you look at the town today, it's clean and looks like just put right back together. They did an amazing job once again. On Saturday, June 24th, we had our young anglers attending the Get Hooked on Frankfort Fishing Derby, which is sponsored by the Village of Frankfort. The winners in the 3 to 7-year-old age bracket, including Carson Comer, who's age 5 from Frankfort. He had the biggest fish caught at 8 inches, and Cole Spurdy, who's age 7 of Frankfort, for the most fishes caught, and he got 16. Winners in the 8 to 12 age bracket, including Parker Santor, age 8 of Frankfort, for the most fish caught in that group, and he had 46 fish. Bodie Smith, age 8 of Frankfort, for the biggest fish caught, and he was at 16 inches. The Village of Frankfort has been awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting by the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada. Thank you to our finance director and the entire team for its annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year that ended April 30th of 2022. This Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by a government and its management. The village has received this award consecutively since 1989. The movie On the Green, we have our second one is coming up, and that'll be tomorrow, and that is going to be Space Jam. I don't know if it's the original one or it's the new one that's come out. I'd like to go back and see that one tomorrow. The movie will begin at dusk, which is about approximately 8:15. It's on Brighter Green. In case of rain, the movie will be shown the following Tuesday, July 18th. The movies are co-sponsored by the Frankfort Park District and the Village of Frankfort. The popcorn is provided there and sponsored by the Knights of Columbus, Kiwanis Club of Frankfort, and the Frankfort Lions Club. The Fridays on the Green series continue this Friday, July 14th, from 10 to 11 on Brighter Green also. And the entertainment will feature a 9-hole mini golf course with the Teen Advisory Board from the library. For additional details and a full list of featured performers, For the other Friday on the Green event, go to frankfortlibrary.org. Recipients of the Summer Beautification Awards for Outstanding Landscaping have been finalized. That is closed out, and the winners have been, the listing of the winners is available on the village website. Congratulations and thank you to all our residents, businesses, and the homeowner groups for their beautification efforts for making Frankfort beautiful. They've done a tremendous job. The weekly calendar, we have cruise night happening tonight. I was just down there. There's a 1931 Duesenberg down there. Don't even want to know how much that one would cost. It's beautiful, as well as a DeLorean. That goes every Monday evening through September 25th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Our country market continues every Sunday from October 29th through October 29th, and that's from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. And the concerts on the Green will continue every Sunday evening through August 27th. They start at 6:30, they go till 8. The entertainment for this Sunday, July 16th, is the walk-ins. Just a couple quick things too, and I'm sure that other members are going to talk. Our condolences to Darrell Sanders, the chief, and his family. And also to Jim Mustis, who has retired from his position as township supervisor after many, many years of serving this community, which overlaps into the village of Frankfort. And congratulations to Nick George, who is now the Frankfort Township Supervisor. And that is all I have tonight for the mayor's report, and we will go to Trustee Ledden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would also like to congratulate Jenny on such a wonderful string of awards. That's awesome. And it's been a great week here in Frankfort with the 4th of July and then capped off with Bluegrass this weekend. It's been a lot of fun downtown and look forward to even more of that over the next 6-8 weeks. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Savari.
I would ditto what Trustee Ledden said, but I'd also like to address the vote we had on the Plan Commission. This comes up quite a bit, right? As a previous Plan Commissioner, we go through training, and you know, we have ordinances so that our residents can have predictability. They know what to expect. If we think that an ordinance is wrong, we should review it. But until we review and we change an ordinance, our plan commissioners should be upholding them. And unless there's a land hardship, not because people feel like they should have a bigger, you know, pergola or a bigger garage, unless there's a land hardship, we shouldn't be passing those variances. That comes from legal advice that we've had in training. I realize that there's always an excuse on why somebody should have something that's different. But again, the reason we have this is so that our residents have predictability. They know what to expect. That's all I have to say.
Well, thank you, Trustee Savari. Trustee Regoni.
Yes, first I'd like to thank all of those who volunteered for the Bluegrass Festival. It was a fantastic weekend. I had a great opportunity of spending that time with my family out there, taking in the sunshine on Sunday. So I'd like to thank all those volunteers. I'd also like to take a moment as we go through our summer to thank all of our volunteers who are keeping our youth occupied through various organizations, whether it is not through baseball, softball, sporting organizations, whether it's various camps. I know that they are very busy, and it takes those volunteers, much like it takes those volunteers at the Bluegrass Festival to do that. I say that these organizations are what make Frankfort, Frankfort, so I would like to thank everyone for that. We in our household had the great opportunity of having reap the benefits of volunteers as we were able to bring home the Pony Championship here at Slammer Stadium, and also the third place for the Mustang. So very happy household in Oregona because of all those volunteers who are able to provide our organizations for our kids on varying different levels, whether it is academics, sports, as well. They're keeping them busy this summer, so thanks to everyone.
Thank you, Trustee Regoni. Trustee Petro.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to congratulate Jenny, our finance department, and our village staff on just another stellar award. 89, since 89, that's quite a long time to keep that streak going, and I don't see it ending anytime soon. You guys have done a really fabulous job with that and walking through the budget and process. I also just want to take this moment to recognize staff yet again for the update to our technology. It's been a long process and a diligent process, and I was really excited today to see that the permitting went live, and I just think that's not only going to be a benefit to staff internally, but also to the residents to keep everybody well informed. So great job on implementing all of that. It's been so long since we had a meeting. We've had fireworks and the 4th of July and Bluegrass Festival and so many things going on, and Uptown was definitely bustling today for the car show as well. So just continue to enjoy the summer weather and all of the activities, and as One Fest wraps up, we do have another one on the horizon here with Fall Fest coming soon, and they are still looking for volunteers. So if you volunteered in the past, or if you're interested in volunteering, I know that there's additional information out on the chamber website, and they would be happy to have new volunteers participate. That's all I had. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Trustee Borelli.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, congratulations to Jenny again, just the best around. Thank you, Jenny. You make it easy for us to digest all that financial information, so great work. Condolences to the Sanders family. Chief Sanders, for those that have been around for a long time, was beloved by many, and those that remembered him were, definitely had a lot of great things to say, great memories, so condolences to the family. Congratulations to Steve Richter, and thank you to all the volunteers that helped put that together. That was such a wonderful weekend. Nicer weather than it's been. Usually it's kind of hot and muggy, and it was actually pretty good. And definitely took advantage of the closed down Kansas Street. I thought it was just, the atmosphere was perfect. I mean, it was just wonderful. So thank you. I did want to address the votes as well, and I appreciate Trustee Severia's words on the vote that we took on the accessory structures. We did spend a lot of time on that. Yes, it is arbitrary, but it's somewhat arbitrary. There was a lot of thought and consideration that went into it. Does a sliding scale make more sense? Possibly, but until we revisit that and change the ordinance, there has to be a real hardship. Otherwise, you're absolutely right. There's no reason to pass it. Otherwise, we're literally just going against what we just approved within, months ago, and it just doesn't make sense to me unless there's that real, concrete hardship. And then I also want to address the vote on the consent agenda, Flurry Builders. There was some comments on that originally, some concern from residents about that being townhomes. I wanted to just sort of talk about my vote and where I was with that. Single-family homes really don't work in that lot. The way that it's configured, it's smaller. It's kind of it's this long rectangular lot. It's not huge. So really, the only other development that could go in there is commercial. And do you want another strip mall or do you want townhomes? I picked townhomes because, and you also look at the comprehensive plan that shows a shortage of townhomes. There's this demand for them, and the supply doesn't meet the demand. So it made sense. I think Flurry Builders will do a wonderful job. So I appreciate it. Thanks for being here, and thanks for your development. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. Now we'll go to Rob Pisha for the Village Administrator's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too want to send my condolences to Daryl Sanders' family, to Jane and the kids and the grandkids. I had the opportunity to be hired by Daryl Sanders back in '86, and anybody that knew Daryl was knew he was a force, and I don't think people realize that he was really forward-thinking in the things that he did. And he was one of the first chiefs to embrace community policing back in the '80s. Also was the first one that we started carrying AEDs in our squad cars to respond to medical emergencies. So he really wanted to do the things that were best for the community. So Daryl will be missed. He said he was a great guy, and he was like he said, he was anybody that knew him. He was a unique character, and he will be missed. Just want to remind residents that our street resurfacing program has begun. Want to congratulate the board on having the foresight to really hit the street resurfacing hard. We're doing 45 streets this year, which we're spending a little over $7 million on that. So congratulations to the board again for budgeting that, and we're really trying to tackle the issues with make sure our streets are well maintained. And finally, I know Katie would want to report that next board meeting has actually been moved as well. It'll be on the 24th, so our next board meeting is 7/24. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Now we'll go to our chief for the police department.
Thank you, Mayor. Of course, I also would like to extend, on behalf of the Frankfort Police Department, our condolences to the entire Sanders family, all of his many friends that we got to see at the services. And I also just want to thank the Will County Sheriff's Department, the Frankfort Fire Department, and all of the many agencies that assisted with his services. I think the services were very honoring and beautiful, and it was really a collaborative effort, so we are grateful for that. Frankfort's Night Out Against Crime is coming up already. It's Tuesday, August 1st this year from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Brighter Green. If you would like additional details, be looking on the Frankfort Police Department's Facebook page or on the village's website. And then lastly, I of course would like to remind everyone to always lock their vehicle doors, close overhead garage doors, and to never leave their key or key fobs inside of their vehicle. And that's all I have tonight, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. Now we go to our attorney, Hannah Lamore, for the attorney's report.
No report tonight. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the board tonight? Okay. Is anyone in the audience like to make a public comment come before the board?
Good evening. I'm Gina Hassett, Executive Director for the Frankfort Park District. Mayor, trustees, village staff. I just came this evening to say thank you to the village for their sponsorship of the July 4th fireworks. This year, the village picked up the majority of the cost for the fireworks show, along with the Frankfort Firefighters Foundation and the union, and it was much appreciated. I know the Park District staff doesn't get to leave the park, but the park was full. My understanding is the surrounding areas was full. Thank you to the chief and her team. You know, again, in the last couple of years with all of the heightened things that have gone on from security-wise, I felt that we had a great partnership. We were working up until the day before to address traffic flow, and it was another great event, as many of the other events in Frankfort have been. So a special thank you to the village board for funding the fireworks this year and for the next couple years as the Park Districts make challenging choices with our limited budget. So thank you for that. As long as I'm here at the mic, I think I extended an invitation. We have another park that we've added to. So on Tuesday, July 25th, we'll be doing a ribbon cutting over at Lincoln Meadows for our new Ninja Challenge Warrior course. So if you want to come out, give it a try. It has a solar-powered timer system out there. So please, we invite you and the community to come out on Tuesday, July 25th at 6 o'clock. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Gina. Anyone else that would like to come before the board, make a public comment? Hearing none, can I get a motion to adjourn? Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.